comments. Let me know if you all can hear me. Can you all hear me? Can you all hear me, please? Drop a comment, please. Let me know.
Yes, we can. We can hear you.
All right, loud and clear. Thank you, Shego. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. You're all welcome. You're all welcome to this month's episode of our soft skill webinar by Data Analytics Elites Global Limited. And I'm happy to have you all here today. How is your Saturday going? So please kindly drop your name and where you're connecting from. Let me know who is here. Let's say hi to everyone. So just drop in your name. Hi, Esther. I am Lola Day from, hi, I'm Shagun from, let me know where you're dialing in from. Um, it's a beautiful Saturday afternoon. So let me know where you're connecting from. Please drop your name. Let me know where you're connecting from. Today is going to be, Irimide has already kick-started today with oh, Irimide, should we just continue partying this afternoon? It's it's TGIS. Okay, you're welcome. Shagun from Lagos, you're welcome. Mufasa from Lion King. You're welcome, Mufasa. Hezekiah from Lagos, you're welcome, Hezekiah. Ololade from Lagos. Everybody's from Lagos. Nobody from Kano, Sokoto. Where are you all? Where are Kano people? Our Sokoto people? Where is everybody? Good to have you all here this afternoon. You're welcome. You're welcome, everybody. Adebayo, you're welcome. Thanks for joining. Hezekiah, you're welcome. Thanks for joining. Okay. From Oshobo. Aha, yes. Thank you, Oluwatomisin from Oshobo. You're welcome. How is Oshobo today? How is Lagos today? Lagos guys, Lagos peeps. What's happening in Lagos today? Uh, I don't know how the weather is in Lagos. How is the weather in Lagos? How is the weather in Oshobo? I hope you all are having a good Saturday. You are all welcome today. Good to have you. Arrow John, you're welcome. Fanama, you're welcome. You're all welcome. You're all welcome. Okay, Oshobo is cool. That's nice. That's nice. That's nice. You're welcome. Happy Saturday. Welcome, Johnson. You're welcome. Thanks for joining us. Chineye, okay. You're all welcome. Okay, so it's good to have you all in our midst. While we're waiting for the rest to join, please, this is an opportunity for you to still share the link with your friends, with your colleagues, with your family. Share the link and let them join in and be part of this conversation. I don't think you want them to miss this conversation because today is going to be a party. Let's put it that way. So you're all welcome to today's edition of Soft Skills webinar. Okay, so while we're waiting for the rest to join in, I want us to do something really, really quick. So I'm going to be asking you all a question, and I'll be expecting your answers. So nothing technical, don't worry. I'm not asking any technical question. So I want us to play a very simple game. So I want you to tell me, based on your personality, based on your values, if you were an animal, what would it be? So I want you to say, okay, if I were an animal, I would be this because this. So I'd like to see your comments. Let me know what your answers are based on your personality, based on your traits, based on your vision, based on your kind of person. What animal would you be if you were one? So Mufasa said she cannot be an animal. Okay, a whole Mufasa from from the jungle. We already know Mufasa has chosen to be a lion. So we already have our first answer. We have a lion already. Okay. Okay. Shagun, I'm waiting for your response. Lolade, I'm waiting for your response. Hezekiah, I'm waiting for your response. What do you think? What would you be? Okay, so while waiting for everyone to respond, I think I would be butterfly. Uh, yeah, maybe I would be a butterfly because I kind of resonate with when you see the life cycle of a butterfly, from egg to caterpillar to the chrysalis and then to a butterfly. It's it's just a beautiful transition. And being able to flutter around. Oh, okay. Oluwatomi say he's an eagle. Wow. Yes, 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 yes. Thank you. An eagle is one of the largest birds of prey that we have. Yes, I love that. An eagle. Butterflies are too beautiful. You cannot kill me with slippers. You cannot. Nobody sees a butterfly and doesn't look again. So definitely not me. So any other person, please drop in. I want to know what you would be. We have an eagle, we have a lion. Okay. Okay, we have a butterfly already. So let me get your responses and see. Okay. Okay. Shadow will be a dove. Wow. That's so lovely. That's so lovely. As peaceful as a dove. Pure, peaceful, holy dove. I love that. I love that. That's nice. Dove. Shagun is a dove. So we have a dove, something more peaceful. We have an eagle, lion. It's good to have a dove, a butterfly, just to balance it up. Because I'm peaceful. You see? And dominantly. Hezekiah. Wow. Wow. Okay. Oh. Let's know where we should run. Please tell us why you want to be an anaconda, please. Please tell us why you're an anaconda. I have a lion somewhere that I want you to swallow. Wow, a gorilla. Thank you, Emmanuel. African giant. Yes. Yes, a gorilla. That's nice. That's a butterfly as well. A purple peaceful. You see, Lolade, you see, we know what we're saying. We know what we're seeing. I can understand you. I connect. I can connect with you. Yeah, beautiful butterfly. Yes. Emmanuel, the gorilla, the African giant. I'll be a cat. Very graceful. Adebayo, you're very. As much as the Nigerian in me doesn't want to love cats, the Nigerian in me doesn't want to doesn't want to love cats, but I understand cats are very graceful. And of course, cat walk is coined out from the way a cat walks. So yes, a cat walks so beautifully and so graceful, and also so 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 gentle. Yeah, purple is regal. Lolade is a queen. She's a queen butterfly. So I totally agree with her. A purple, peaceful, royally butterfly. All right. It was funny hearing from you all. Any other person dropping in their uh, their responses, I'll be glad to hear from you. Okay. So you're welcome to today's edition of our soft skill webinar by Data Analytics Elites Global Limited. And so who are we? We're a community of highly skilled data analysts who have gained expertise and mastering the technical and leadership skills needed to thrive in the data analytics industry. So we are focused on mentoring aspiring data professionals who want to gain mastery in the data analytics tools, techniques, and technology. So we believe in setting actionable learning goals while we hold you accountable to ensure your learning goals are achieved. And this is one of our monthly webinars that we hold every last Saturday of the month, free of charge. Free of charge. That's like, wow. So today's topic is measuring what matters, a data analyst's guide to identifying and tracking KPIs and metrics. And I'm glad to have you all here. Um, Moving forward, I would want to call upon the CEO and founder of Data Analytics Elites Global to address us for a minute or two. So help me welcome Iremide Olatunji to the stage. Good afternoon, Iremide.
Good afternoon, Esther. Alpha. Good
I'm good.
afternoon, everyone. I don't know who we are talking about, but I'm really Sindisha. The other ones, I don't know who you are referring to. How we are doing? Yeah, let me just share my screen very quickly so that I do not waste too much time in this conversation. This particular topic, is very interesting. I actually did a post on LinkedIn, measuring what matters. Like I really can't wait for us to really dive into that conversation and really understand, what are the KPI that matters, right? When you're giving the data, what matters is like your view versus the organization or your manager's view, right? Which can be a bit conflicting, right? And I really can't wait for us to get into the conversation. But before we go on, I really want to say a very big thank you to the team. Our HR is Esther, and she's the moderator for this event. I want to say a very big thank you to our HR and also to our wonderful guest, Mr. Gift. Mr. Gift has been a very great resource to the community. And I want to say a very big thank you to Mr. Gift and to all our team members on the call. I want to say a very big thank you. And also to our community members, I want to say a very big thank you. Our soft skill event is one event where we get to connect and bond, right? I know I've been in the comment section, cracking jokes and all of that. This is where we get to like put faces to the names that we see on WhatsApp, all the time and all of that. And I'm so excited to welcome all of you. Before we go into soft skill, right, I want us to just take a little bit for us to just I'm looking for the right word, to meditate on our journey, right? The year is coming to an end. September has ended. So by Tuesday, we are on the last leg of 2024. And I think that it will be good if we can just take a minute to look at our journey. What has your journey been like for the year 2024? At January, where were you, right? And now this is the end of September. Where are you currently when it comes to your skills, interpersonal development, networking? I don't know if one or two people would want to share their learning, where they were at the beginning of this year and where they are currently. What are the things they've learned, on the journey? What are the things that they've done well, the things they've not done well, the opportunities, the threat, more like a SWOT analysis of yourself, right? And your skills. For me, I think I started the year very well. I was still learning software engineering. I graduated that in March. And really from there till now, I've not really practiced any more of the software skills. I've taken on projects, but I had to like outsource it to other people. I've also been more on my learning. I tried learning Python. I'm still like gaining mastery in Python. I did a course, an online course with Harvard, which I'm also completing in computer science. And for me, so far, if I look to from January till now, I can say that there's been a growth in my mindset, the way I think, the way I reason, the way I relate with people. um the team, the DALI team has also grown. We have new people join us, and it's just amazing to see the work that we do. It's progressing, right? And for me, even as a community, I would say that we are kind of like in the right place where we are meant to be right now, right? I feel that where we are is we are just on track, right? We are on track. Yeah, there's a lot of things that we need to do to improve upon, to learn, but then we are still on track. So I really don't know if anyone wants to also share, their learning journey. Maybe you took a course earlier in January, or maybe in the first quarter or second quarter of the year, and then you've gained mastery in that particular course. I would really love to hear your story. I really love to hear from you. Maybe, and also we also had a very wonderful, we had a partnership with Data Fellows team. I think for me, that partnership means a lot, seeing two data community coming together to to collaborate, to pull in their resource when it comes to human capital, skills, and experience to build a particular product, right? The 1 million SME product. It's amazing. And I really can't wait to see what this partnership would bet as we go on. So I don't know if anyone wants to also share, you know, can anyone hear me? I don't know if you want to share your experience. How was it for you when the year started, and how is it going? Is it going? I think with the old naira and dollar thing, for me, with the exchange rate, it affected a bit, but we still there, like we still gallant, yeah. So I don't know. The floor is open. I just like one or two people to just share their experience. Anyone sharing? I've shared mine. Oh. Anyone sharing? Is anyone coming on to share their experience?
Hello.
Hello, Hezekiah. The anaconda. Avoid me.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
It's nice being on this call with wonderful minds and great professionals in the house. Can you all hear me, please?
Yes, we can hear you, but we can't see you.
Oh, you want to see me? Okay, give me some minutes, please.
But you can still talk nonetheless.
All right. So, hearing Remide sharing journey so far, guy, it's not easy to juggle 9 to 5 job with building a community that is fast growing. It's the community is growing at a rapid rate, right? It's a wonderful job you guys and the whole team members are doing at that end. Kudos to you guys. Yeah, 2024 has been a year of learning and personal development from this end. Actually, there are some certain goals I set for the year. Some has been achieved. Yeah, I started a leadership course with Covenant University, and yeah, I've gotten my certificates from the program, from the institution. From there, I embark on other leadership, emotional intelligence courses. Being a consultant that I am, right? It is very, very important. I think I have about 4 to 6 of that already, ranging from compositional leadership, emotional intelligence, building a supportive workforce, to mention but few. Yeah, 2023, okay, 2024 as well. I started fully my YouTube channel, right? Come on. When I started, it was like, okay, I don't have the resources. I don't have the camera, I don't have the microphone. So it has been a setback. It has been a setback all this while. But from one or two people you speak, you discuss some things with, they will give you a clue of what to do. So those who are actually in the space, they are not better than we do. It's just that everybody, they take on the bold step to actually start with what they have. It has been a whole lot of learning experience for me. You have to create your content, record your content, edit your content, push your content forward there. Yeah, it has been a great learning experience so far, as well. It has always been one of my desire to extend my technical skills to people out there. So mid this year, we embark on a project to train about 3,000 women in tech, ranging from data analytics to UI UX, digital marketing. We are currently on the first phase of the project in collaboration with an NGO. Yeah, Iremide, you are instrumental. You are instrumental in that phase. I really appreciate you. So 2024 so far so good has been a learning curve. It has been a learning curve. Yeah, while maintaining our steez. Maintaining our steez. That's been a learning curve. All right, I think this sums up the whole journey so far from this end.
Thank you so much, Ezekiah. That's so people are not clapping for you. Are you guys jealous? I say achievement to 4 to 6 certificate in 1 year. God, I beg. Thank you very much, Ezekiah, for sharing. Really celebrate with you. I don't know if one more person would like to also share their learning experience, how the year 2024 has been, the journey so far. Anyone, one more person, and then we can move on to the main session. Anybody coming up? Are we still thinking about it? All right, since no one is coming, it's fine. Esther, please, you have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Remide. Nice one, Hezekiah the Anaconda. Well done, and wish you success in your endeavors. So we'll be having our guests in about a minute, and I would advise you to grab a notepad and a pen because you would be writing a lot. Kindly keep your microphones muted so that you don't get to distract others. There'll be time for questions and answers at the end of his presentation. So if you have any questions, just jot them down. When it's time, you'll be given the room to speak. You would either, signify to unmute, or you can drop your questions at the comments section. However, in the course of the training, if you have your questions, just write them down so you do not forget them. You still have the opportunity to ring someone right now to tell them that there's a party going on here so that they don't miss out on it. Call your friends, call your colleagues. So today's session is going to be insightful. It's going to be full loaded. Let me put it that way. So sit back, relax, get a bottle of water, a glass of juice, because the party is about to get started. Today we have a high-profile guest in our midst. When I say high-profile, he is high-profile, like he's here, up here. He's a senior data analyst and business process automation expert with 6 years in data analysis across different sectors: education, power, fintech, energy, consultancy. He's a pioneer past faculty member of Ikeja Electric Data and Analytics School, where he trained over 100 colleagues in Microsoft Excel, SQL, and Power BI. He has trained over 3,000 people, both individual and corporate settings, across different platforms on data analysis and business process automation and optimization. He's vast in different technology tools outside data analysis, like web development, video editing, database administration. He's currently the Senior Associate Data Analytics at Flutter Wave. Ladies and gentlemen, drum roll please, as we make welcome Gift Ejowoke Warrior to the stage. You're welcome, Gifts. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm wondering why you said I'm high profile. Like you don't want me to grow again.
Come on, come on, look at the profile. And this is a summarized profile.
Okay, guys. Good to be here. It's a pleasure to actually be on this call. Okay, so I'll quickly just share my screen just to give us an idea of some of the things I will be talking about. Okay, so Esther has already said some brief about me. So one key thing I'll just put is Gift is just Gift. Okay, Gift is a Nigerian, for people that have been wondering if I'm a Nigerian. Okay, so I'm a Nigerian. So I'll be telling us, so it's going to be more like a discussion, okay, even though I understand that we would be having the question and answer time at the end. This is more like a conversation, okay. I just want us to have some basic conversation around this topic, because I believe on this call, we have great data analysts, senior data analysts, experts actually on this call. So at some point, I'm going to be asking questions, okay? So not you asking me questions. So during the course of this session, I'll be the one asking us questions. So we are looking at measuring what matters, a data analyst guide to identifying and tracking KPIs and metrics, okay? Okay, so let's take a look at how the agenda is going to be like. Our session is going to be a kind of brief session to just make us to have this conversation basically. So just a short agenda. The first thing we'll be looking at is what do we measure? Okay, so we say measuring what matters. So what should I measure? What should I not measure? So we're having conversation around that. We'll also be looking at why KPIs and metric matters. We'll be looking at just a simple framework for identifying KPIs. We will also be looking at how we track and monitor KPIs. We're also going to be looking at a simple case study. Okay, so this case study is also going to be about me asking you certain questions, after setting the ball rolling in this conversation. Then lastly, we're also going to look at common mistakes to avoid whenever you're tracking KPIs. Please confirm you can hear me loud and clear, and you can see my screen, Esther.
Loud and clear, and you can see your screen.
Okay, thank you so much. So what do we measure? Now, to make this simple, as a data analyst, you need to understand your role, okay? You need to also understand what you do. As a data analyst, one key ingredient about your work is the word data, okay? You are not just an analyst, you are a data analyst, so you can't function without a data. So data is a critical ingredient to your day-to-day activity as a data analyst. So when we are talking about measurements, it has to stem up from data. What you measure has a direct relationship with data itself, the kind of data you are, analyzing, the kind of data that you are looking into, the kind of data that you have available for you. For example, you are looking at the power sector data, talking about electricity tariff, talking about consumption, what you are going to be measuring is definitely going to be different from what you measure when you're looking at WHO data, around cholera epidemic. So you need to understand that your measurement is tied to the kind of data. Okay, so that's why I tell people, especially people that are just joining, the field of data analysis, that there is no need to cram. I've seen a lot of people, during their training days to transition into the data space, data analytical space, do a lot of cramming. You cram dashboards, you cram, all the data they teach you. But the truth is, reality is different. Okay. And one other thing I've seen in today's world, especially in Nigeria and some part of Africa, is you have someone who has fully learned. He has undergone a training, probably with the data analytics allied community or whatever academic platform that best individual has passed through. You've learned it, let's say 6 weeks, 1 month, 3 months. And the next thing you begin to hear some of these people say, which most times shocks me, and sometimes when I have conversation, I try to see how I can change that narrative, is after that training, most people say, oh, I don't think I can work in an organization yet. I need to do internship. People start moving from, one place to another, looking for internship, thinking that at the end of that internship period, they are now matured. But you know what? No matter where you intern, you can only be as knowledgeable as the data that you have within your internship period. For example, you come to intern in a health sector, let's say a health NGO or probably a hospital. You get familiar, you do internship, yeah, you understand those data, but does that mean because you've done internship, you can automatically work in a fintech? The answer is yes and no. Now, the key ingredient is you as a data analyst, understanding your role, and during your learning process, while you are still learning the data analytic roadmap, modules like Excel, Power BI, maybe Python, maybe SQL, that you understand the intricacy that has to do with understanding data, how to clean a data, how to analyze your data. And at the end of that day, one key thing that every data analyst must learn is learning how to measure. And learning how to measure starts from the very beginning when you start learning your Excel, not necessarily when you start doing internship. Fine, I'm not saying internship is bad. Internship might boost your knowledge. But what I'm saying on this call is once you can learn the intricacy around what you measure across different data points, you can easily apply for a job in any field. Okay. I started up from the educational sector, applying data. And because I understood the concept of measurement, it was easy for me to transition from education into the health sector. It was also easy for me to transition from the health sector to the power sector, to consulting, to telecoms, doing analysis across different kind of data sets. So this is one of the reasons why for me as a person, I find this very, very important. This topic very important, because as I'm talking to us, I'm also talking to myself, because daily we learn how to measure. Measurement, the skill of measurement is something that we keep sharpening, every now and then. And I just hope within the short time frame that I have, I will be able to come to that level where we understand what we measure. So I'll just give I'll just open the floor, by asking random people questions, because I want to believe a lot of people on this call are probably data analysts, irrespective of the level you are in your analytical journey, whether you're a beginner or you're an expert or you're in the medium stage. So I'll just randomly call so that we can just exercise this. So I'll call on Shegun. I can see Shegun on my screen. Shegun, can you unmute? So like I said earlier, it's a conversation, but I'll be the one asking question in the course of the training, course of the lecture. Then at the end of my talk, then you have room to ask me questions. So Shegun, hi Shegun, how are you?
Yeah, hi, Gift. How you doing? I'm good.
Fine. Hope I'm not too fast.
No. Everything's
Okay.
perfect.
Okay, so I believe you're a data analyst, right? Irrespective of the level, even if you are
Yeah.
just learning. Okay, beautiful. Can you just call a random type of data? So when we talk about data, we talk about data types. We could say financial data, customer data. So I want you to randomly just call a data for me. Just
Okay,
one.
employee data.
Employee data. So if I ask you as a data analyst, just tell me two things or one thing you can measure from employee data.
Okay. One, I can measure the performance rate of an employee. And two, I
Okay.
can okay.
Yeah, no, just say the two. Say the second one.
Okay. Well, for another metric I can measure is let's say attrition rate of employees.
Thank you. Even though you are speaking big grammar, some of this grammar is more than my level. Don't get confused with what Esther said. Maybe that's why I'm speaking big grammar, but it's fine. Ezekiah. So let's try this with you again. Yeah, hi Ezekiah. Can you unmute?
I'm with you, Shogun. Gifts rather.
Yeah. So just call it data, random data type. So you tell me one thing you can measure from that kind of data.
Sales data.
Sales data. So what can you measure?
I can measure what's it called? Sales performance. Like
Okay, thank you
quarter
very
sales
much.
performance. Quarterly
Thank
sales
you
performance.
so much. Thank you so much. Okay, Richard. Hi, Richard. So the next one or two persons I'm going to be speaking to, I'm going to tweak my question. Richard, is Richard still on this call? Okay, let me see. Let me look. Adeleye Adekboju. So I'm just randomly calling people, like we see. Hi, Adeleye Adekboju. Hi, can you speak where you are? Okay. Priscilla, Fanama, Priscilla. Hi, how are you? Hello. Can we make it a little bit fast? Okay, so I'll quickly jump because of time. Ogunkola Peter. That's my senior man, my senior friend. Yeah, Ogunkola.
Yeah, hello.
Hi, Ogunkola. Long time no see.
Hi. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so can you mention one kind of data?
Yeah, customer data.
Because can you change it? I think someone. Okay, customer data. We've not talked about it. Okay, customer data. Okay, can you tell me one thing we cannot measure in customer data? You didn't expect that coming, right?
Yeah, no, but all the same. Okay. Okay. Well, I'm thinking the ones that we could. Yeah, we may. Okay, depending on what height, weight, things like that.
we
may
cannot
not,
measure that.
depending on where that customer data is being used for analysis.
Okay, so Ogunkola Peter is
Thank you.
is trying to be so smart with me, you know. So I'm going to end it with that conversation. You know, he said from customer data you cannot measure height, weight, kind of, but he went ahead to, you know, to avoid entering the pit I actually set for him. The truth is this: you can measure height, you can measure weight, but it has to do with the kind of customer data. For example, I hope you know a patient is a customer to a hospital. You go to maybe a gym, your height, your weight plays an important part of that data that's been collected. That could be measured. Okay. Anyway, let's just quickly proceed. Okay, so the truth is this. What I'm trying to bring to our knowledge or to our notice is this: we are not bigger than the knowledge we're exposed to. So the limit of my knowledge operation is dependent on how big my knowledge bank is. I'll say that again. My knowledge operation or the application of my knowledge is directly proportional to how big my knowledge bank is. Same with data. You know, a lot of times people, because they don't understand data, the data they're working with, find it difficult to even identify what is measurable. Some things that you think cannot be measured, what you call intangibles, can actually be measured. Let me give you an example. Sometimes people say you cannot measure voice. You know, you can actually collect an audio and analyze it. Do you understand? That's why you see people like the FBI's or some security personnel have security analysts that can do forensic analysis on voice and be able to tell if that voice is original or it's fake. What is the yardstick for coming to those kind of conclusion is because there is already a data base or there's a data bank. You know, they compare and say, okay, this voice cannot be Irimide's voice. Even though it looks like Irimide's voice, it is not Irimide's voice. So there are certain things within the data that can be measured. So always have this in mind. You know, when you have data, you need to look very deep into it and understand, am I actually measuring what I should measure? Okay, because the key thing on this call, what we're going to be actually addressing fully is measuring what matters. So there are a lot of things that are measurable within a data set, but not all things are necessary. Sometimes what you think is important may not be important. Now, let me shock you guys. From my experience, what I've come to note is that sometimes what the stakeholders think, so the stakeholders now I'm referring to, like the management, the CEO, you know, think sometimes may not necessarily be what is meaningful. I don't know if you get that. So that's where it gets so tricky. And you know, for you as a data analyst, so you must be careful. So I had a discussion with a friend yesterday, and I was telling her that one of the biggest challenge I have as a data analyst, and especially being a senior data analyst, is the fact that my integrity is always at stake. Once there is an error based on my analysis, it will take a lot of time for people, for my stakeholders to trust my analysis. So that's why you need to be very careful. And all this starts from what you measure, okay? So I'm giving us all this background so that we can understand the weight of this matter. And why I also said, till date, I'm still learning how to measure what matters. So we don't stop it. And like I said, your knowledge bank determines how much you process. If you don't have knowledge of something, you definitely cannot express expertise in that thing. So daily, in your work, you are gaining experience. That's why people say they want people with experience sometimes, not because you are the best, but because you have certain leverages in terms of knowledge, application of knowledge. Okay, so it gets so tricky, and that's why we must be careful. As data analysts, you are seen as a magician. The whole company, whole business believes in your ability. So you must be careful. Do you understand? But I'm not trying to scare us. I'm only trying to empower us with the knowledge around measurements. Very, very key. Your stakeholder, your CEO, your line manager might not even know the real measurement tool, might not even be giving you the right metric. Okay. And where the problem lies is that at the end of the day, when there's an issue, you, the data analyst, needs to explain why. So we need to be careful. So let's just, without wasting most of our time, so let's look at certain questions I'm going to ask. So these questions kind of guide us into measuring what really matters. So if you had to stop tracking 80% of the metrics you monitor today at your organization or on those, let's say, transactional data, which is one of the most common data I see a lot of newbies, analyze. Those kind of metric you measure, those KPIs you measure within your dashboards every now and then. Someone just gives you a sales data. The first thing you start doing is total sales, this, that. Now, if you have to stop 80%, stop tracking 80% of those things you monitor, would you still know whether the business is successful? So these are just more like food for thought for us to just use to feed our brains. Okay, so even after this session, these are questions you can ask yourself. Another question you can ask yourself, what if the metrics you rely on are leading you in the wrong direction? This can be very frustrating, Anyway, we're going to learn how to sort some of these issues. Okay. Now, let's look at the third. Can you confidently say that your KPIs are aligned with your organization's vision? Or are they simply reactive measures? Now, every organization have vision. They employed you for a purpose. You are not to bring your own ideas and just think you know best. There's a reason why you are hired. You are hired or you are doing your business, or you hire someone as your data analyst to basically come help you achieve your goal, your dream. Okay, so anytime you do your data, you do whatever dashboard, you draw your metrics, your KPIs, ask yourself, are they actually aligned with organization's vision? Or are they just simply reactive measures? Maybe what you picked up from school, that anytime they give you transaction data, you must just do this, that. In fact, you have a template. Okay, it's a customer data. I'll just look for this, that. Is it in line with organization vision? Now, in organization, why do we actually need data? Why do we need insights? Why are you there as a data analyst? Key thing, I want to believe a lot of us should know. But one major thing you do, your task as a data analyst, basically is to bring out insights from data. If you don't bring out insights, there'll be confusion. In fact, your data must, I use the word must, lead to a proper data-driven decision. So here is just an illustration of a manager, maybe even be the CEO, with so many choices to make. How can you, as a data analyst, help in providing the real insights for decisions to be made? Very, very key in your day-to-day activity as a data analyst. Even that's what I do. I always realize there are many choices. Some choices looks good, but end up being wrong. Some choices looks bad, but the end goal is good. So as we battle around choices in organization, we must understand choosing what to measure is very important. And with regards to choosing what to measure, it boils down basically to you getting your KPIs. It boils down to you, being able to do your metrics very well. You need to understand what your KPI. So for those on the call that might not probably know what KPI is just an acronym that stands for key performance indicator. The key word in that KPI is key. Key. If there is no key, if your KPI is not key, then it's not a KPI. I don't know if you got me. Did you get that?
Very
Esther,
well.
did you? Yeah. If it is not key, it is not a KPI, because KPI means key performance indicator. And when you're talking about key performance indicator, you are basically referring to, excuse me, so you are basically referring to that thing you measure that indicates how effective a company, a business, is achieving their objectives. What you measure, that measurement, that pointer that helps us know if a business, maybe an individual or an organization, a company, is actually achieving their key business objectives. Like I said, every business has an objective. The data analytics elites community, there is an objective. It's nothing just comes out of the blues. There's a reason why it is formed. There is a goal and there is an objective. If what you are measuring is not helping one to know if a business is meeting up with the objective, then you are not measuring KPI. And of course, there are many objectives, but the key thing is key objectives. Key objectives. Your KPI must be those key indicators. Okay, those key things, those key elements from your analysis. Remember, as a data analyst, you analyze data. In analyzing your data, there are different things you do. Okay, so this call is not even for that, but I'll just summarize. You get your data, you kind of clean the data, you kind of manipulate the data, massage the data, beat it up and down, and beat that data. And in doing that, you sometimes do some calculations. Okay, even if you are using a low-code platform to do drag and drop, the truth is that behind it, there's also calculations going on, some kind of formulas going on, triggering those things you are doing your drag and drop on. At the end of the day, that thing, it must measure. It must show us business objectives. So that's the summary of what we refer to when we talk about KPI. Then when we talk about metric, you know, a lot of times, even me, when I was coming up, I also confused it. I was also confused about it. Okay, so I'm just trying my best to see how I can use something simple to explain, so that as we proceed, when we talk about these words, you don't mix them up. When we talk about metric, metric is actually a quantifiable measure used to track the status of business process. You use it, so metrics are basically operational. Okay, so how do I break this down? So a company has an objective and they set down goals on how to meet up the objectives. Those goals are kind of actions, they're kind of processes. So what you use, that indicator that enables you to be able to track how you are faring, that track the state of health, you know, of that goal, is what you call metric. So basically, metric helps you to know where you are at the moment. Metric is what can also help you to know, are you doing the right thing? Do we need to change our tactics? Do we need to change our strategy? So let me give you a simple example of what we refer to as metric. You probably want to know the number of website visitors. You start tracking. What that does for you, it helps you to start tracking the number of people that visit that website within a specific period or a duration of time. Okay. A quick example for KPI, so that we don't we don't get lost. Example like revenue growth. You talk about profit margin. Okay, profit margin helps you to be able to know the percentage of revenue that has actually exceeded the cost of producing a good or a services. So if it cost me let's say $1 million to be able to provide a product, and when I sell that product, I was able to get a total of $1.5 million. What that simply means is that I got a profit of 50%. So there's a profit margin of 50%. Now, how does it align with business objective? Some businesses will tell you in year 2024, at the end of year 2024 cycle, we must have grown our revenue by 10%. We must have improved, let's say we must retain close to about 70% of our customers. So you know that 70% of your customer, which you refer to as customer retention rates, is your KPI. But what are metrics I can use? I can do metric of number of customers that make purchases. Do you understand? I can measure return customers. So those are metrics. But when I now want to measure the KPI, then I'll start looking at customer retention, you know, retention rates. Okay, so let's quickly just look at this. So why KPIs? Why does it actually matter? You know, why does KPI, why does metric really matter? So while I was trying to define to us, you know, I kind of touched about this. I touched some points, you know, about this, but we'll just look at it based on what I put on my slide. So KPIs are essential for aligning data analysis with strategic business goals. As data analysts, our job is to ensure that the insights we generate are what relevant and actionable. These things, every now and then, I keep asking myself, these insights I am sharing with the business, how relevant is it? How can it help in guiding decision making? Okay, very, very important. So let's look at first thing, why it matters, for you to actually identify, measure your KPIs and your metric. Alignment with business goals. We've said this over and over again. Performance measurement. You need to be able to track your performance. Like I said, no business just exists for fun. You just want to, you just feel like I can produce mobile phones. So I just go into business. I have the technical know-how. No, every business exists to make profit. Okay, every business exists to make profit. Now, the third thing, informed decision. With KPIs and metric, you can be able to help business make informed decisions. It's so funny that in our world today, we are now being forced to make informed decision. And if you refuse to make informed decision, you just face the consequences. We are in an era of generative AI. A lot of things are fast moving. Businesses are making fast decisions on the move. So you need to be able to track your data. If not, it's just a matter of time. A company will just fold up because there were no KPIs, there were no proper KPIs or proper metrics to actually measure these things, to give insights, for informed decision. And fourthly, accountability and transparency. These are some of the reasons why KPIs matters. I don't know if you can still hear me, and I hope I'm not too fast, Esther.
You're right on track.
Okay, so quickly, because of our time, we'll be looking at framework for identifying KPIs. So this is just a guide. Remember, what we're looking at is measuring what matters and basically focus on data analyst guide, to identifying KPIs. Okay, so I'll just give us a framework that I use till date, and so it's possible tomorrow I may change it. Life is dynamic, but at the moment I think it's something that's that could be very helpful to us, especially individuals on this call that may finding it difficult to identify KPIs. The truth is, it's never easy. I'm a senior data analyst, fine, but do you know today there are certain data that when I see, I need to calm down. I need to take a deep breath. Sometimes I need to go sleep, and think thoroughly about that data, to be able to identify KPIs. And I think on this call, I've illustrated severally, highlighted the reason why we need to ensure we measure what matters. We need to ensure our KPIs are on track. Okay, so let's just look at a simple summarized framework that could help us in identifying KPIs. Because at the end of the day, meeting business objective is all we want to do. Okay, so that's why I'm focusing more on the KPIs. So the first thing is, your KPI aligned with business objectives? Now, so this is, earlier on in the call, I talked about that sometimes even your line manager might not even, during the course of reviewing, let's say, a dashboard, which is one of the easiest way to visualize, KPIs and metrics, performance dashboard. Sometimes you do a dashboard, to you, it's beautiful. Everything looks on point, the colors fine, aesthetics awesome. You share with your line manager. Your line manager might not even agree with some of those your stuff. You might have conflicts, with your measurements, especially in a scenario, because there are different scenarios that maybe different data analysts may face in their journey. For me, in my journey, I've had different experience. One of the hectic but most interesting challenge I've had in my journey is being given a data, as a data analyst, and you're just asked to identify insight, to generate insights. It could be crazy, especially if you're just a newbie, or maybe you go for a hackathon, data hackathon, and you were just given data, generate insights. It becomes so confusing. You don't know where to start. Now, for me, it's challenging, but it's the most beautiful opportunity you have to express your analytic reasoning. Remember, as a data analyst, what is much more powerful is your soft skill, not necessarily your ability to do a beautiful dashboard. You learn Excel, fine, you can write SQL, it's good, but it's not as important as your soft skill, your analytic reasoning, your ability to critique, the right way, your ability to communicate well, your ability to interact with stakeholders, very, very key. So in a situation where you are given a data, you're just asked to generate, insights. It's challenging if you're new, but like I said, it gives you an opportunity to maximize your soft skill, to have a proper critical and analytical reasoning around that data, clean, check it in and out. But as you are doing this, you must make sure whatever KPIs or metric you are measuring aligns with business objective. Another scenario you may have, which I've also encountered, is the business gives you what to measure. Maybe, the business team tells you, we want you to build a dashboard that will measure this, that will measure that, and that. Sometimes there are conflicts. That's where your emotional intelligence matters. Irrespective of who is giving you this metric, this KPI to measure, you must. It's something that's worked for me, and it's something at some point in my career I failed because I did not understand some of these basics. Okay, but I learned and I'm growing. You must be a little bit political. Being political here is applying your emotional intelligence. Check each of the metrics given by the stakeholder. Check the KPI. Is it in line with business objectives? That's why I tell people, data analysts, my colleagues, people generally, as a data analyst, you cannot be far away from the business. Don't say, I'm a data analyst, mine is just to build dashboard. You must understand the business. What is the business goal for 2024? What's the business goal for Q1, Q2, Q3? What is the business goal for the business objective, strategic business objective for the next 5 years? Because every organization have different strategic objectives. Some can be 3-year plans, some can be 5-year plan. You must know. Don't say, I'm not a business person, I'm not a salesperson, I'm not a manager. It doesn't matter. Excuse me. It matters. You must understand domain knowledge. And this is where you prove your knowledge, your domain knowledge. In interviews, it's one critical thing people ask indirectly. They ask you in interviews, okay, you are given a data, how do you go about it? Part of the things they want you to be able to express is your ability to show the importance of business domain knowledge. Because without business domain knowledge, you can never even understand business objective. And once you don't know business objectives, definitely you're on your own. You are just measuring what you think is important. Okay, and it can be very disastrous. So you must ensure. So in the other scenario I'm sharing with you, so you notice it is not in line. It's your duty, because you're a data analyst, to find a better way to communicate with your stakeholders. Make them understand. Try to ask them why that metric is chosen. Why was that KPI chosen? Because one of the things I've seen, a lot of times people just measure things that are not meaningful. It looks good, but has no bearing with business objectives. At the end of the day, as a data analyst, you just end up becoming a reporter, just doing reports because you cannot contribute and because you don't even understand the business objective. So in situations like that, you need to now have a stakeholder engagement, try to understand their own concepts. Why was that metric chosen? And maybe at the end of the day, what you thought you know, because sometimes you think you know, but you don't know. And sometimes you think you don't know, but you know. So I saw Remide's post on LinkedIn about this, and it brought for me a lot of memories. Times where sometimes you have conflict. Conflict sometimes comes. It's normal, okay, in place of work, in your field, in your journey as a data analyst. But you must leverage on your soft skills on that. So align with business objectives. The second thing you need to do, focus on key business drivers. What is driving the business? What is showing us the path that we're making growth? What is showing us that making growth? So let me give you an example. If you do cumulative number of customers, for example, you do a dashboard, you just put in cumulative number of customers, 5 million, and that record is just telling us the total cumulatively from maybe last 5 years that we have business started to now. My brother, my sister, that is not driving business. But when you come down to help us understand customer growth in terms of the retention, we are seeing the percentage, as it's going up and down, or we are seeing that percentage that gives us year-on-year comparison. It makes us to understand better. Okay, even though it appears like we are growing in number, but in comparison to last year or last month, something is going wrong. So it can help drive the business, for decision makers. Remember, even you as a data analyst, you're also a decision maker, but might be at the lower rank, you're also a decision maker. So let your KPIs focus on key business objectives. Make them measurable. Make them actionable. Very, very important. Make them actionable. Make them measurable. Fourth, prioritize leading indicators, over your lagging indicators. Very, 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 very important. It's something that a lot of times, we sometimes make, that mistake. So you must be very, very careful. So one of those other things you might also expect me to talk about is, okay, how do you set, so what I just shared with us basically is how to identify, framework to identifying. But when you come to setting your KPIs, you must ensure that your KPI is smart, specific, you know what you're measuring. You make sure that it is measurable. Of course, it's something that you can quantify, based on your data. It's time bound. Don't give us an open-ended KPI. It must be time specific. Remember, objectives are time bound. Okay, so it must be relevant. You must define it clearly. We must be able to understand what is it that you are actually, talking about. Very, very, very important. What are you talking about? What are you measuring? Okay, so this is very, very key to us. So tracking and monitoring KPIs. You've set your KPIs. Does it end there as a data analyst? The answer is no. You need to monitor. You need to track. Now, one of the basic reasons why you need to track and monitor your KPI is that business is dynamic. The world economy is dynamic. Technology is dynamic. Things are changing. Some years back were not fully knowledgeable about generative AI. We had the level of what we knew was AI. Do you understand? So it's changing. Businesses are, keep changing goals, refining their goals. So your KPIs too needs to be refined. One thing, one of my boss, when I worked in Ikeja Electric, always tell me is your KPI cannot be static. If your KPI is static, then there's a problem. Now, what we mean by KPI static here is we are not saying your KPI should just be changing. Okay, so don't get it wrong. So when we say your KPI should not be static, it's being specific here. It must be in line with your objectives. As your objectives are being refined by the business models, by the business managers, by the business executives, by the board, your KPI must follow. So you don't say, last year, what we're measuring was the total number of customers that used our products or that made purchase of our product on the website, and you just stick by it. The business can change. I said they're no longer interested in that kind of growth or measurement, that kind of performance measurement. We want to start measuring our month active users. Month active users. That is, in month active user, you want to also check the users that we have. How often do they come monthly, to be active? I can have a customer onboarded, okay, in January, and the last time he did transaction was January. Till today, no transaction. Even though you count that person as your customer, is that person actually an active customer? Businesses are no longer too interested in all those gimmicks, about just customer. We have 1 million customers. Right now in today's world, they are talking about activeness of a customer. We are talking about customer retention of customers. We are talking about loyalty of customers. So it's very important, okay? Customers' behavior has changed. So businesses sometimes changes their strategies. Do you understand? Like I remember in those days, when we were growing up, I'm still growing. One of the key things we heard every now and then was customer service. Customer service, they have good customer service. Good customer, what is customer service? But the truth now is nobody talks about customer service. Customer service is just an item in an ocean, just a drop in an ocean, drop of water in an ocean. What business focus more with regards to customers? Because customers, everything about customer is dynamic. We know the economy that we are right now. The way you behave, the way you buy things, the way you spend money, the way you save, now it's not the same way you did those same actions 3 years ago. Do you understand? You are growing, you are changing level, you are changing career, your salary probably changing. Some people probably lose their job. You are getting older, you are getting married. As you're getting married, you are giving birth to children. So your behavior changes. So right now, what business focus more on is customer experience. I want to talk about customer experience. It cuts across all customer journey, from when the customer, first of all, hears about the product or your services, to when it start patronizing you, to when it start referring to people, when it start making complaint about your product, and so on. So life itself is dynamic. So your KPI cannot just be static. You cannot say, no, when it comes to analytics, sales data, it must just be this. You must put it in line with objective. Is it following? Are they together? Okay, so very key. So some of the things that could help you include set a benchmark and targets. So when you are tracking, there's always a benchmark and target. What is the target? For this business, we want to be able to achieve XYZ by the end of 2 years, by the end of 3 months. So you need to keep tracking to ensure is the KPI, what's happening to the business, because your KPI is a pointer. Your KPI is more like an indicator of the health of your business, health stats of your business. So don't just build a dashboard and say, I've built a dashboard. I see a lot of people do that, build a dashboard, then you pack your hands. You need to keep checking, because sometimes even your end users might not even spot some challenges. But as you look at it, you're checking, you can see something, you may see need for you to change your KPI, because business is changing. You need to build it. Use dashboard and reports. Very important. It's one simple way to be able to easily track your KPIs and metrics, not just put it down in one fancy piece of paper. If you can do a dashboard or a report, it gives you that kind of visual, opportunity to track them. And again, another thing that you could do is always review your KPIs regularly. Review them regularly. In reviewing them regularly, what you're doing, you are checking using the framework. Is it in alignment with the business objectives? Okay. So quickly, because of our time, I've taken a lot of our time. I didn't know I was talking this much on this call. So just quickly look at a case study of how we can see the effective KPI tracking in action. So the case study we are looking at just an online retail company that actually wanted to improve customer retention. So I'll just show you some basic things, KPIs that could be set, what's the implication of that KPI, and so on. So first, look at KPI identified. So the KPI identified here, just one KPI here, is customer lifetime value. So customer lifetime value is something that helps you to be able to know how important a customer is to your business. The truth be told, not all customers are really very relevant to your business. Okay, so we've identified the KPI for this particular case study, this online retail. They'll look at the metric track. So for the metric, what we are tracking here could be monthly retention rate. So what to look at it, so that can help us know, are we retaining our customers, or our customers are, running away, they are changing location, and so on and so forth. So when it comes to the action, you've been able to give a KPI, that is actionable, that meets all the processes, the guidelines on setting a KPI. What action, data-driven action, the company would have taken? So the company used email marketing to now improve, because they noticed that there was some kind of issues, based on the KPI being tracked and the metric being tracked, that they needed to do some marketing, and they did an email marketing to improve retention and track success using the identified KPIs. And what happened? What was the end result? Because everything was tailor-made to business objectives. And the result, 15% increase in customers' retention over 6 months. So this is the chain, of every action you take, from your KPIs to metric. At the end of the day, there will always be a result, whether it's useful to the company or not. Now, some certain mistakes you need to avoid. Pitfalls. I'll just share with us some pitfalls, how we can avoid these pitfalls. So just quickly running, because I can see my time is almost up. So measuring too many KPIs is something we should try as much as possible to reduce. The smaller it is, the better. Don't just have too many of them. So prioritize your KPIs. Make sure you make use of this one that align with the key. The keyword is key. There are a lot of performance indicators. Some are key, some are not key. So for your KPIs, make sure it's aligned with the key business objective. Choosing vanity metric. Don't just choose metric for choosing sake. You need to focus on metrics that are tied to outcomes, such as conversion rate, customer retention. So those metrics that can be measurable, that at the end of the day, we can actually see the action, what happens, as a result of the decision that was taken, based on the metric based on the KPIs. Another thing is people do times they ignore context. You can't ignore context. I've said this over and over. Your business domain knowledge is very important. You notice there is a reduction in sales. You need to understand why. It's beyond those numbers, those quantitative. What are the qualitatives? Customer apathy. Have you looked at customer sentiment? In this economy, permit me to use the Yoruba word. Some people they corner, one corner. So you cannot just market anyhow to them. Someone could just give you some buzzwords. So don't ignore context. Okay, people ignore context a lot in data. So there's a sum up, importance, when you do both the qualitative and quantitative analysis together, it helps you a lot. Now, just for food for thought, what other mistakes do you think we could avoid? I'll just drop that here and say thank you so much for your patience in my very long talk. Thank you so much, Esther. That will be the end.
Wow. Thank you so much, Gift. Thank you. Thank you. That was a wonderful session. Thank you so much. Our notepads are full. My notepad is full. I don't know about everyone else. Thank you, Shego. That was generous. Really, really generous. In fact, it's almost like he opened up his head for us to, to dive into it. Thanks. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I believe some of us may have some questions we would like to ask him. So kindly indicate if you want to speak or if you just want to type your questions, please type in your questions and we'll have him answer them. But while waiting for your questions, I don't know if anybody's indicating, but while waiting for your questions, I would like to ask you, Gift, please. So there are cases where some data analysts work in industries. I believe you have worked in various industries. So something like, let's say, where your stakeholders are non-technical. Say you are working with construction, workers, or and your stakeholders are just all they know is wood and machines. They don't really know much, with IT. You're talking metrics. They are just looking at you like this. How do you communicate this KPI, your KPI insights now, effectively to non-technical stakeholders? Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. This is an amazing question, I must say. I love this question. So one key thing is, like I said, as a data analyst, your job, your skill is beyond technical. You must learn communication skill. So one of those communication skill, I'll tell you that's very important. Yes. Whenever you are communicating to business people, even though they are not even educated, do you understand? Imagine you are talking to a 5-year-old child. And you must understand what is communication. Communication is when the message you pass was received and understood. That's when you say there was a communication. So I can talk to you guys. If you did not hear me, then I never communicated. If you heard me and could not understand anything from what I've said, I've not communicated. So one of the things that guides me is most times when I'm talking with non-technical persons, imagine you're talking to a 5-year-old, person. How do you, so you need to just use simple terms, simple, so let me give you an example. Maybe that could drive home business. So let's say we're doing sales data. Sales data happens to be, okay, no, let me not use sales. So let me do customer complaints data. You do a customer complaint, you're a customer, maybe data analytics, data intelligence, whatever. Now, from your stuff you notice they were probably, so you did a customer sentiment analysis. What does sentiment analysis does? It helps you to be able to know, people's feeling, around your product. Okay, you get, and by the time you do it, you actually use score, to get that. Okay, so you have different scores that tells you how much these people feel. Is it a strong sentiment? Is it positive, or is it a negative sentiment, or neutral? When you're going to communicate it to your stakeholders, you cannot be telling them using the word sentiment. You cannot be telling them there was so percent positivity. No, no, no. Just go to them. Most of our customers are not happy with our product based on the feedback they shared with us. The major areas they complain about, remember you've done your analysis, major area they complain about is that whenever they want to call us to come and help them, maybe, or sorry, whenever they come to build, we come to repair maybe their plumbing machine. After repairing it, they notice another part of their house gets spoiled. So they will be able to understand, easily that way. So you must learn to imagine you are talking to a 5-year-old child. For me, I think that does the magic. Forget their big level, because you may be tempted to speak the jargons, the technical jargons. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's really insightful. Thank you so much. So we have a question from Philip James, and he says, thank you for the insightful session, sir. You mentioned not all customers are relevant to your business. So his API will help to uncover this.
Okay, yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you for that question. So, like I said, what defines what is important to measure is the business objective. There are certain business that are not concerned about some customers that are bringing little money. Some businesses, their focus is on loyal customers, some top notch. They only use those guys down to just get some small change. But the people that they are drivers of that business, what tells them what action to take, what new feature to improve, are those big guys that patronize them more. So those big guys are more like the people that influence their decisions. So in that kind of scenario, if you are getting insights, your concern must be on the high payers. Do you understand? So not as if those guys are not important, but in terms of order of priority for that business, to achieve their goal, because they're just there to meet those big boys. Do you understand? So you need to ensure that your metric captures those kind of people. You measure more on that and minor on what is not key to the business. So that's what I mean. So not as if as a human being they're not important. Of course, they're contributing to the verticals, the bottom line for the business, but what's the priority of that business? There are certain business that are primary focus is those middle class people, those SME businesses, and not the top people. Do you understand? So overall, you need to understand the business objective for you to be able to know if what you're measuring is really what matters.
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you. That was an amazing time with you. Thank you, Gift. My 2 takeaways from this session was, ensuring that my KPIs are smart. Your KPIs are smart. They're specific, measurable, actionable, relevant, and time-bound. And, my major key takeaway is, if it is not key, it is not a KPI. So just in case anybody missed that, you can write that down. If it is not key, it is not a KPI. Thank you so much, Gift. We are grateful. We thank you for joining us today. Guys, feel free to connect with him on LinkedIn, connect with him on LinkedIn. He's always available to speak with you, to talk with you. If you have questions, after this, just want to, connect. These are senior guys, in the industry you want to have in your network. Thank you so much, Gift. We really appreciate. We should have you again very soon because wow, are you sure you will not come next month again? Because it was insightful. We had a nice time. Thank you so much. Thank you for having us. Do have a nice day, and we wish you all the best in your workplace. The next time you join us, you're definitely maybe going to be, know, the profile will be, 3-4 levels higher. Thank you so much. Yeah. Do have a lovely weekend. So, right, guys. Yeah, his slides were wonderful. Thank you, Gift. Thank you. You did so well. Thank you so much. So I believe we all had a great time today. But before we go, Remide, I don't know, is the training department available to speak with us shortly?
Yeah, I'll just wrap up on that. Thank you very, very much. I really enjoyed, every aspect of the presentation. And it's just a reminder, of what we already know for someone like me to be like, yeah, this is still it, yeah. When it comes to measuring KPI, it has to be key, it has to be smart. Thank you very much for giving. And I mean that I'm coming to your DM. You show me how I used to create that. That your slides are just amazing, right? I mean, I still use PowerPoint, so it will be nice for me not to upgrade. So you share tips on how to create amazing slides like that. Thank you so